So the facility on Ilos, the top secret facility on Ilos, these scientists, they were people that had survived the first attack of the Reapers. So they fled, and nobody knew where they went. Nobody knew anything about where they were. So they hid on Ilos in this secret facility, and that's where they started to investigate, how to stop the Reapers, and that's where the whole conduit thing comes into play, which is like a miniature mass relay on Ilos. That's where you find Vigil. Vigil is an advanced non-organic analysis system. When Shepard asks Vigil if Vigil was an AI, he doesn't say yes. He says that's what he is. He says, I'm an advanced non-organic analysis system with personality imprints of Case Idaishon. And Case Idaishon is a Prothean. And he says that Case Idaishon was the chief overseer of the Ilos research facility. Now what I don't understand is what happened to Case Idaishon. Now, if Vigil was made with personality traits of Case Idaishon, what happened to him? Did he die? What happened? That wasn't answered. That didn't go. Nobody went into that, and I'm not sure. You do have the opportunity, the option, to investigate Vigil further. Liara, if you take Liara with you on Mass Effect 1, she says you should study Vigil. This is the only Prothean connection, like real Prothean that we have, and because it's a time sensitive issue with Saren reaching the conduit first. Shepard, the Paragon version, the Paragon option is no, we have to go after Saren first, or else he'll reach the conduit and a lot of people will die. And that's what I did. But I've been looking for this online and I can't find it. And so if any of you did choose to test and to look more into Vigil, I would love to know what happens. Like what do you find out? What's different from you studying Vigil and not? Because not studying Vigil, that's you just leave Vigil there and then that's it. And you find out in Mass Effect 2 that Vigil's energy resources just gave out completely and it was non-responsive. So Vigil explains to you what happened at that facility. And he's basically saying that the key to preventing Sovereign from killing everybody and from destroying the Citadel and all that is the conduit, which is, like I said, the little miniature mass relay on Ilos. And it's kind of like a back door to the Citadel. And you could go there. You have the back door to the Citadel. You go there straight into the Citadel, and you override the Keepers, because the Keepers were placed there by the Reapers, so that when the Reapers were going to come, a signal was sent into the Keepers, and the Keepers would basically open up the mass relay of the Citadel so that the Reapers could come in. So the Protheans found a way to reverse that, like to change it, so that the Keepers didn't obey the Reapers, like they wouldn't receive that message. So that's what the Protheans did. They prevented the Reapers from coming in from dark space, so trapping them in dark space, because the Citadel wasn't going to respond to them anymore, because of the repurposing of the Keepers. The interesting thing about Vigil is that he's surprised at the same time that Shepard could understand him, because Vigil is actually talking in Prothean language. And when Vigil starts talking, whoever party member you have besides Liara, because Liara could understand Vigil as well, everybody's like, oh, well, I don't understand what they're saying, or I don't know what he's saying, because he's just saying gibberish or whatever. And Shepard's like, I could understand him, and Liara's like, oh, so can I. That's because, Liara's an expert in Protheans, and Shepard could understand Vigil because of the Prothean cipher. Remember when Shepard got hit by the beacon on Eden Prime, the beacon was broken, so that's why he got all these crazy images. They made no sense, because the beacon and the distress signal was broken. that the Protheans had sent. And the Prothean scientists had sent that message to the beacons. And one of your party members tells Vigil, why would you even risk it to send a message to the beacons after the Reapers had left? Why would you send a message? Because it was like giving you away. If the Reapers would find you or find that message, they'd be like, oh, so those guys were left behind. Let's go kill them. But Vigil says we had to find out if there was anybody left, if there was any Protheans left. So they risked it and they sent that message, and nobody got it until Shepard, or until Saren and Shepard. And Vigil explains that the message that they sent could only be picked up by an organic. The Reapers couldn't see that message. They couldn't pick it up. So that's why the Reapers used Saren to check the beacon, because a Sovereign couldn't see that message. He couldn't read it. So he needed an organic to check the message, because he knew that the Protheans had done something, because Sovereign was left behind by all the Reapers. The Reapers were in dark space, and Sovereign was actually a scout that was left behind, just observing and seeing when would be the right time to attack again. And when it was, he programmed the Keepers to open the door of the Citadel into dark space, and the Keepers didn't respond. And he was like, what the hell? So he was like, the Protheans did something. And that's when he sent Saren to check the beacons, and yeah, there was a message there. But it was broken. They didn't know what it meant. So the way that they were going to find out what that meant was by getting the cipher from the Thorian on Pharos, I believe it was. The Thorian is an ancient creature. The reason why the Thorian understands the Prothean language and all that, and the reason why the Thorian is even considered to have a cipher, which, a cipher means to take apart a code, right? To be able to read something encrypted. And the Thorian is able to do this, to understand the Prothean language and all that. The Thorian actually ate the Protheans. He would eat the Protheans, and by eating the Protheans, the Thorians started to gain knowledge of the Protheans, because of their connections that the Protheans had to mines. So the Thorian, that's how the Thorian had the cipher. And so Saren got it in order to make sense of the message, so that Sovereign can know what's going on, what do we have to do, and Shepard did too. So after Shepard gets that cipher from the Thorian, he is able to understand the Prothean language as well. So that's why he can understand Vigil. And it's an interesting thing, because I'm like, oh, well, that's going to be awesome, because if the Protheans are going to be in Mass Effect 3, that means that that Shepard will be able to understand the Protheans, even if they, I don't know if the Protheans are going to be physically in Mass Effect 3, or a Prothean, or I don't know. I would love to see a physical form of Kasai Daishan, the guy that's based off Vigil. I don't know, but I would love to see a physical Prothean, even if it's just one. That'd be awesome. If there's that case, or there could also just be that you don't see them physically, you don't see the Protheans, but maybe their data is what you're going to have to look for and all that in order to take down the Reapers. So the Protheans were basically what saved humanity and the rest of the races of obliteration from the Reapers again. The Protheans did find a way to prevent them from coming back. And now for Mass Effect 3, now you just stop to think maybe they found out a way to actually destroy them. There's probably some information on the data disks or something that maybe Vigil didn't go over. The thing about the surviving scientists on Ilos was that there were a lot of pods with Protheans in them. Like right where Vigil was, he was like overlooking all these pods of Protheans that had been in stasis, this like cryogenic stasis, basically frozen, to actually survive the amount of years that it took for the Reapers to destroy Protheans. There was a lot of Protheans in these pods. So there could have been a good amount of Protheans. They probably could have been able to restart the species if all those Protheans had survived. But it took the Reapers centuries to actually kill the Protheans completely and for them to retreat back into dark space. So the Protheans that were in that cryogenic stasis, Vigil says, I didn't have enough energy reserves to keep everybody alive. So what he did was he had to shut off energy from like the lowest staff, from like, you know, maintenance and stuff like that. He was like, I had no option. So he was forced to kill all these Protheans, and the only ones that he saved, the only pods that he saved the energy for, were the main scientists, because he was like, they are the ones that are gonna find how to you know, how to stop the Reapers in the future, like how to prevent them from doing this again. There was only a dozen Protheans left. There wasn't enough for them to restart their species. They couldn't. So what they did was they made the conduit, and they went to the Citadel. They used the conduit, and they went into the Citadel. But the problem was that the conduit was a one-way ticket. They got stuck on the Citadel, and they weren't able to leave, because they were like, now what? Vigil doesn't know what happened to these scientists. He assumes that the scientists died, that they just ran out of food, that they didn't have enough food to begin with, that they just died. But who knows? He doesn't. This is just a presumption. It's probably one of the most. It's probably one of the most logical presumptions, but there's still that possibility that maybe they didn't die. I mean, what if those scientists are the ones, or at least maybe a few of them, are the ones that are going to be coming in Mass Effect 3, if they really are going to be physical form for Mass Effect 3. Maybe that's why they left that mystery unsolved, because they're like, we never said that they all died. Who knows what happened? Maybe they found a way to maybe go into cryogenic stasis again, or find a way to survive. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think if there is going to be a physical Prothean in Mass Effect 3, or Protheans, they're probably going to be those scientists. The question is, was Keisai Daishan one of those scientists? If Keisai Daishan didn't die before they put them all into stasis, then obviously the scientist, if Vigil saved his energy reserve for the top scientist, Keisai Daishan was one of those, because he said he was the overseer of the whole facility. Keisai Daishan is probably, if they survived, he's probably one of